Let's talk about great sex, and I'm going to share with you 5 things that will blow your mind. Now, the following videos for anyone who's desirous of lovemaking, somebody who's most likely a demisexual. If you're not familiar with what a demisexual is, I highly recommend writing it down and Googling it, but I'll just kind of give you my version of it. And it's a person who connects sexually through their heart, through their experience beyond the physical, beyond the performative, beyond the ejaculation or orgasm. Now, before I get into this, I want to be very upfront because sex for me has always been what can I get instead of what can I give? Now, many of you who have been following me know I'm in a significant relationship and I find myself experiencing something I've never really experienced before is a genuine heart connection with someone where I feel like we're both on the same page. And this includes physical intimacy. Now, most people oftentimes operate, as I said earlier, what can I get? Can I get the orgasm? Can I get the pleasure? Am I performing for another human being? Now, I know many of you might not feel that way, but many people operate that way. So I want to share with you 5 things I've learned through my experience that might enhance your sexual desires, lovemaking, however it resonates for you. And my hope is this can make a genuine difference in your life. Now, I want to be radically upfront. I'm reading from some notes that are right there. So if you see my eyes looking down, it's because I just created some bullet points to prepare for this. But the first thing that I think is considered great sex and is mind blowing is connection before penetration. Connection before penetration. Great sex begins before the bedroom. Now, I know many of you know this. I know many of you are going, of course, duh, Jonathan. But through laughter, presence, curiosity, and emotional safety. When a man or woman feels truly seen and appreciated and accepted, their body relaxes, their heart opens. That's when real intimacy begins. So I want to repeat this again. Connection before penetration. And I said to you, laughter, presence, curiosity. Really sit with those words for a second. Laughter, presence, curiosity. Why is it something? I remember growing up watching James Bond, and it seemed like lovemaking was this quiet, seductive kind of experience. But I'm going to tell you something. When we can approach it with laughter, when we can approach it with presence, what is presence? Presence is being present in the moment, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, being present and also curious, not just from a mind game perspective, but curious about someone's body, curious about what really turns them on, and even asking your partner what turns them on. Why do we have so much, reservation when it comes to physical intimacy, as if it's supposed to be perfect right from the very beginning? It takes time to get to know someone's body. It takes time to get to know someone's heart. So come from a place of curiosity. And as I said before, and this is so critically important, is come from a place of presence. By the way, for the men watching, I can't begin to tell you what a turn on it is for a woman when a man is genuinely present. He's not actually looking about the penetration. He's not focused on ejaculating. That's for the men listening. And for you ladies, listen, I recognize you have a laundry list of things that probably needed to get done before you're even ready to be in the bedroom, but let that go. Let those lists go, because when 2 people are physically intimate, it's their time to connect to something beyond themselves. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment as well. So number 2, devotion, not performance. Devotion, not performance. Can someone write this down? When 2 lovers drop the goal of orgasm and choose devotion instead, sex becomes an act of worship. Each touch, each breath, each sound becomes a prayer of appreciation for the divine in one another, dedicated to each other's pleasure. It's one of the things my beloved said to me. She said, I appreciate that you are dedicated to my pleasure. See, a physical, listen, talk about sex, but I'm going to frame it as lovemaking. Genuine lovemaking certainly is about the pleasure of it all, but there's something divine about giving pleasure to your partner, to be dedicated to their pleasure. But when two people are doing this, now I recognize many of you might have found yourself in a relationship with someone who is a taker, somebody who only cares about their own pleasure. And I recognize that's challenging to be in those kind of relationships, whether you're a man or woman. This is why, coming back to number one, connection before penetration. When couples spend time in a truly heart-centered way, and it starts by just being present and gazing into each other's eyes, that's dedicated to each other's pleasure. By exploring each other's bodies with light touch, that's dedicated to each other's pleasure. Write that down, dedicated to each other's pleasure. In fact, why not have a conversation about that? What is it like to be dedicated to the other person's pleasure? It's one of my favorite phrases my sweetheart said to me. And I can't tell you how much that genuinely touches my heart. It opens me up. It blows my mind. And I hope, whether you're a man or woman, let me ask you something. When someone is truly dedicated from a place of wanting to give, not from a place of receiving, isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that physical connection all about being in service to each other? Isn't that why we're in relationship? Is it about what we can get or what we can give? So number two was devotion, not performance. Okay, number three, energy exchange. Energy exchange. Sex is an energetic conversation. The more open your heart, the deeper the flow. A spiritually awake man or woman tunes into their partner's energy, noticing when she's open, whether he's open, whether they're guarded, whether they're playful, whether they're tender, and meets there in reverence and meets in that space of reverence. It's an energy exchange. Remember I shared with you earlier about demisexual? Has anyone experienced a genuine energetic connection? You know, something I experienced, and maybe you felt this way too. I've experienced something that when physically intimate with my partner, there's like I'm connecting to something beyond myself. And most importantly, it feels safe. It feels like home. Have you ever felt that way? What does home represent? Home represents comfort, safety, a place you know really well, that energy exchange. And that's what happens when you're physically intimate with someone, whether you're giving oral pleasure, whether it's penetration, you are connecting your bodies to something greater. 1 + 1 = 11. It's something greater than yourselves. And that energy exchange becomes something that you can feed off of. Let me ask you something. As you're listening to me right now, does this resonate with you? Have you experienced this in your life? See, I think we only experience these types of this type of heart-centered connection with someone who's genuinely our true love. I've often said I'm looking for a heart on to go with my heart on. And I think that really only happens. You can have great sex with someone. There's no doubt with anybody. But mind-blowing, heart-centered sex, I think it happens when you're genuinely in love with a person. And that energy exchange is an exchange of love between the two of you, that frequency of love. Do you know that frequency of love? It's like harmony. It's like a tuning fork. You can tap it and you can just hear the vibration. It's like taking a crystal glass and running your finger around the rim. You hear it and it vibrates at such a level. And when two people are in harmony, exchange their energy together, like I said, it can be mind-blowing and something really off the charts. Now, I talked about this before, but number 4, presence over technique. Presence over technique. The best lovers aren't the most skilled. They're the most present. Breath, eye contact, and stillness can transmit more pleasure than the physical act. It's about feeling, not performing. Let me repeat that. The best lovers aren't necessarily the most skilled, but they're the most present. Their breath is in unison. They have eye contact with one another that can blow your mind. And the stillness, just the quiet stillness, can transmit more pleasure than just the physical act. Let me ask you something. Have you experienced that? It's such attuned presence with another human being, and not even speaking. You know, oftentimes words gets us in our head. It gets us out of our head, gets us out of our body into our head. And that presence over the performative techniques, as I said before, breath, eye contact, and stillness really can transmit this experience to something at a mind-blowing level. Have you experienced that? I'd like to hear about it. And lastly, number 5, union beyond the body. Union beyond the body. Spiritual sex is a merging of souls, not just bodies. When both partners surrender ego and drop into pure being, pleasure expands into love, and love becomes communion. Folks, I'm talking about this because I'm experiencing something I've never experienced before: genuine, heart-centered connection with another human being. It's almost as if we're entangled with one another, and that gets amplified when we're physically intimate. Our bodies just seem to morph with one another. And I don't think I could experience this if I wasn't in a space to be prepared to go all in with someone. See, when we're acting from fear, when we're acting from doubt, when we're acting from past hurts, or worse, when we're acting from fantasy, oftentimes it blocks our heart to love. Let me repeat that. When operating from fear, when operating from past hurts, when operating from the fantasy, it can block our hearts to love. Many of you follow me know, listen, you could probably go back to some of my old videos and tell my past hurts. You can tell when I was in fear, and you can certainly tell when I was in fantasy. In fact, when I work with clients, I can see it all the time: their fear, their past hurts, or their fantasy. Now, oftentimes the fantasy has been predicated or been amplified by what we've been taught. We've been taught that like real connection is about attraction, entertaining one another, romance, and physical connection. We call this chemistry. We've been so indoctrinated to believe chemistry equals relationship success from that pure, instantaneous feeling. By the way, did you know chemistry is something that can build over time? You can have intellectual chemistry with someone that can go off the charts. You can have emotional chemistry with someone that can be off the charts. You can have what I call creative chemistry with someone. Creative chemistry are those people that have a creative flair to them, particularly people that have humor, have a humorous side to them. There's just something sexy about humor. Beyond the biological chemistry, beyond the sexual chemistry, there's even spiritual chemistry out there. See, we seem to hyper focus on that sexual, physical attraction in the beginning, when you can actually build something mind-blowing with one another when you operate from a place of presence, from a place of where the fear, past hurts, and fantasy is so far beyond your desire, your capacity, and your vision for a relationship. There's something, now I have a clear-cut vision of what I want in relationship, when without that vision, without that North Star, how can we ever dive into something? Sure, we can experience hookups. We can experience friends with benefits. We can experience casual relationships. And the vast majority of humans find themselves, situationships, and the vast majority of humans find themselves in a casual relationship. Yeah, you're experiencing companionship, you're experiencing connection, you're experiencing even sex, but without the deep commitment. And how do we get to deep commitment? We actually have to get to know another human being from a heart-centered level. This is why I highly recommend reading the book Can't recommend this enough. If the Buddha dated, by the way, all the books I recommend are listed below. If the Buddha dated, this is a great book to amplify what great sex is, mind-blowing sex, when you can learn how to dive into your heart and throw out the performative gender rhetoric and say, how can we really design a relationship that is mind-blowing for the two of us? But it starts with a commitment to commitment. Can someone write that down? It starts with commitment to commitment. But I know you ladies have been told, just sit back in your feminine energy and let men lead, because men are so good at this process. Men are rather clueless, ladies. A lot of men are just winging it. This is why it takes deeper conversation right from the very beginning. You want to share? You want to know something? Before my partner and I were physically intimate, I think we amassed 55 hours of variety of different phone calls, getting to know each other at a granular level, asking those deeper questions beyond the surface, beyond the, how's your day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. We shared about our past hurts and our pains. We got a sense of how much personal development we've done in each other's lives, or in our individual lives, how much self-help therapy, and got a sense of each other's self-worth from a perspective of self-love. And don't forget about my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. If you want to have a mind-blowing relationship with someone, it's time to do the inner work well before. And by the way, we never finish this inner work, but what I was about to say, well before, do the inner work so you can be prepared where your desire, your capacity, and your vision for a relationship is above the fear, the pain, the past hurts, and the fantasy many of us are operating from. So just to recap what great sex is, these 5 mind-blowing things: connection before penetration. Great sex begins well before getting into the bedroom or the back of a car. Devotion, not performance. Can someone write this down? Dedicated to each other's pleasure. Devotion, not performance. Number 3, energy exchange. There is this magical energy exchange happens when 2 hearts connect. Presence over technique. Being present. Breath, eye contact, and stillness. If you can maintain that for minutes upon minutes upon minutes, you're going to experience something absolutely mind-blowing. And lastly, union beyond the body. Spiritual sex is a merging of souls, not just bodies. Both partners surrender their ego and drop into pure being. Pleasure expands into love, and love becomes communion. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this conversation. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Check out my group. Check out all the books I recommend in the show notes below. All right.